This is a tale of a chubby, adorable, sleepy cat named Whiskers. Each night before bed, Whiskers puts on his soft, comfy pajamas. But these are no ordinary pajamas. Oh no, these pajamas are magical. And when Whiskers slips into them, they take him on dreamy adventures in different lands of slumber. One night, as Whiskers was settling down for bed, his tail swished back and forth. As he put on his striped pajamas, they felt a little strange. He stretched out a paw and then his eyes grew wide. Something was wrong. His pajamas were missing. Without his pajamas, Whiskers can't go on an adventure in Dreamland. So he got to searching. First, he looked under the bed. It was dark under there, and all he could see were two glowing embers in the fireplace. Then he peeked behind the bookshelf. All he saw were the toes of his little mouse friend, Monty. Monty was asleep, snuggled up with his teddy bear. Whiskers didn't want to wake him, so he quietly tiptoed past. He walked over to his window. Outside, the moon was shining and the wind was making the trees sway back and forth like they were sleeping. The garden below his window was filled with sleepy flowers and glowing fireflies. Their light was like magic. Maybe if he followed it, he would find his pajamas. So Whiskers slipped through his window and floated down to the ground. The grass tickled his paws as he walked. Soon, he came across a little field mouse wearing pajamas, just like his. She had 3 little yawns escaping from her mouth. "Excuse me," said Whiskers, "but have you seen my pajamas? They're blue with white stripes." The little mouse shook her head, but then she offered Whiskers something else. "I may not have seen your pajamas, but I have something even better, a piece of sleep. This is a yawn I saved especially for you." She yawned widely, and a piece of sleep flew from her mouth. It looked like a shooting star. The moment it touched Whiskers, he felt a tingle all over. It was the most wonderful feeling, and he knew this piece of sleep would help him find his pajamas. As he continued on, the moon above him shone even brighter. Suddenly, a great horned owl hooted hello. He wore a beautiful velvet smoking jacket and a silk top hat. "Such lovely pajamas you have there," Whiskers said. "Oh, thank you," replied the owl. "They were a gift from my dear wife, but I must be going. It's almost time for bed." The owl flapped his wings, and Whiskers noticed something. Each flap created a beautiful lullaby. He listened closely to the song. It sounded like the wind chimes in Whiskers' garden. Maybe the owl could help him find his pajamas. "Would you please sing another lullaby for me?" he asked. The owl closed his eyes and sang again, and as he did, a piece of sleep flew from his beak. It sparkled like a tiny diamond. The moment Whiskers touched it, he felt himself drifting off to sleep. It was such a peaceful feeling, and he knew this piece of sleep would help him find his pajamas. He walked further into the garden. Suddenly, he heard a soft humming sound. In the distance, he saw a little snail wearing a nightgown and a bonnet. She was fast asleep and gently moving toward a rosebush. Beside her was a trail of glistening moonbeams. Whiskers quietly approached her and tapped her shell. "Excuse me," he said, "but have you seen my pajamas? They're blue with white stripes." The snail turned around, her antennae twitching. "My pajamas," she mumbled sleepily. "Of course you need a piece of sleep." And then she let out a big yawn. A moonbeam shot from her mouth and flew into Whiskers' paws. It was cool and refreshing, like a drink of water on a summer's day. And Whiskers knew this piece of sleep would help him find his pajamas. He walked on until he came across a little pond. On the other side, he saw a family of hedgehogs fast asleep. One of them had lost a button and was floating away on the water. "Help!" cried the hedgehog. "Save me!" Without a second thought, Whiskers jumped into the pond. When he reached the hedgehog, he helped her climb onto his back. Then he swam to a patch of land and gently laid her down. "Thank you," she sighed. "You're such a hero. Now I can get some sleep." Just then, a piece of sleep flew from her nose. It twinkled like a firefly. The moment Whiskers touched it, he felt like he could take a nap right there by the pond. But he knew he couldn't. He still hadn't found his pajamas. So he continued walking. As he walked, he felt the pieces of sleep gathering inside him. They made him feel sleepy, but also powerful. He was strong enough to help others, and that made him feel good. Suddenly, he heard a familiar sound. It was the tinkling of bells. He looked up and gasped. Above him were the most beautiful pajamas he had ever seen. They were big and fluffy and floated in the sky like clouds. Was this a dream? Whiskers didn't know. He just started running toward the pajamas. As he got closer, he felt a tingling sensation all over. It was the best feeling in the world, and he knew that with these pajamas, he could visit any place in Dreamland. When he slipped them on, they were soft and comfortable. He felt so warm inside. Then he floated up and away. The pajamas took him higher and higher until the whole world was beneath him. He soared over hills and valleys and rivers and lakes. The world looked so peaceful from up here. Soon, he was surrounded by fluffy white clouds. He felt like he was flying in the sky. He looked down and saw that the whole world was asleep. The sun was setting and the moon was rising. It was nighttime and everyone was sleeping soundly. Whiskers felt very happy. He loved nighttime. It was the perfect time to rest and recharge. And he knew that with his pajamas, he could have the best sleep of all. They took him to the dreamland of pillows where everything was made of pillows. He could jump from pillow to pillow and never get hurt. He could slide down tall pillow slides and never fall. And he could even swim in pillow pools without getting wet. It was the coziest place in the world, and Whiskers loved it. When he was done playing in Dreamland, his pajamas would bring him back home. He would slip out of them and snuggle into his bed. And as he closed his eyes, he would remember all the fun he had in Dreamland, and he couldn't wait to go back again next night. The end.